Hey everyone, welcome to episode, I think it's 4, with Hyacinth, with Shan Cottrell, and your social media links are Hyacinth at TikTok, and on YouTube it's Shan Twin Flame Journey, and I'll put all the links underneath. But thank you so much for taking your time out. I'm very, very excited to talk to you today because the things that are going to come out your mouth, I ain't heard no one else talk like this about things, and I've been really inspired. Like I came across your TikTok in October 2023 this year, and it was at a point where I had just come off of I've done about 3 Abraham Hicks cruises this year. I started going last year, and they just change your life because I met my twin flame a year ago, and I just had to get out of it. And as soon as I got out of it, I realized I was whole and complete, and everything was there in there now, which is what you talk about. So thank you for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited too to finally, connect with you and talk about this stuff. People need to hear it.
They do.
You know,
Where are you based? So I'm in England, and
it's lovely. My mom's from Chester.
yes,
She's from England. She's born and raised. She goes every year. I'm from Washington. I was born and raised in the United States. So I'm from Washington State.
nice, wonderful. I love the US. I went to the US for the first time this year. So let's get into it. It's almost like twin flames are this like very small, tight little community, or they were until recently. And there's been all sorts of hype about it in the media and other places. And I just want to know about, how did your journey start? So let's get into your background. Like, when did you find out you had this? I know you say what do you say, supposed twin flame, or the story of the twin? Explain that.
Yeah, the apparent twin flame, because really it's unknown. I mean, we really don't know what that is. It's like we only go off of what we've been told or what we've read on Google and blah blah blah. But really, we just don't know what it is. But apparently it's a phenomenon. Because all the stuff that happens with it is like, what is this? Like, why is this happening? So yeah, that's why I say
I feel you, because I had met a lot of guys before this individual, and I thought it was just a little hookup, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, and yeah, it's something, and there's a label to it, and like, I agree with you. Like, who gets to decide that this is what it is, and you're the divine this and the divine that, and this is that? Like, who who came up with all this stuff, right? Some of it
right.
makes sense, though. Some of it does make sense, like the running and the chasing and all that business. That does it does make sense. And
Something's going on, something's happening. That's apparently right, but it's happening, and it's like, but what I've noticed, it's your energy, and that's why it's addicting.
and
That's why
then
you can't let go.
I've like had people who claim to be the divine masculine or whatever, and they say, you know, the other twin or whoever it is like chasing me, and I feel the energy, and it's too much, so I can't handle it. I run, but then as soon as they pull back, I get drawn in, and I don't know why. Like, they have no idea or clue. Like, it almost seems like there's one who's aware of what's going on and one who's just like getting pulled along. So there seems to be
Yeah.
something in the stories that are out there, that there is some maybe truth to it. I don't know. What do you think?
I really do think it is just the reason why they're feeling the energy like they are. It's because it's their energy. There's no separate entity here. It's one energy, and it's yours. You are on the same exact energy frequency. Yes, we are all connected, right? We're one big source of energy, but it's your twin flame is your exact energy frequency because it's you.
You know what? Like you just said, in the whole grand scheme of things, we all just
Yes.
one, apparently one energy source or whatever it is. So what makes the twin flame phenomenon? So you said it's the frequency match. Like, what do you think? What does that mean to you? What? Because then people say they've said to me in the past that I'm crazy, and that you've got millions of twin flame. Everyone's your twin flame. You can go on the road and you meet your twin flame. I don't have the same experience with everybody. I've only had it with one person. Um, what do you think?
Well, are you asking, like, is there more than just one twin flame?
Well, yeah,
Others
sure.
out there,
Go on
or
then. Sure.
that you come across? Well, crazy enough, when I met my twin flame, I had already met him previously through another being. But it was the same, it was him arising as another entity. Does that make any sense? Because your twin flame can appear in any kind of way. They can appear as the numbers. They can appear as seeing the, how you see the car that looks just like theirs, or hearing the name, saying, seeing the name. It's all your energy appearing as is.
Okay, so some of the viewers
And
are going to think, what are you talking about? So I
yeah,
understand it to some extent, because I'm
so,
thinking, when they appeared in another body, did that body have to pass away for the energy to appear in another,
no,
or it just takes over the body? Like, what goes
it's
on? Is there
all
like,
just one energy, so it can appear in any kind of way. So this other being, and it wasn't another being, it was twin flame just appearing energetically through another entity or whatever you want to, but it's all just energy anyways at the end of the day. But the moment I looked into this person's eyes, I had recognition. And I didn't know what a twin flame was. I didn't know what was going on. And I kept telling my friend, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I've known this person before and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And she was like, well, maybe it's a kindred spirit. I was like, what is a kindred spirit? And she goes, I don't know. Look it up. But I never did. I just left it as it was. Well, this lasted for 2 years. And we would communicate apparently through telepathy. That was our communication. We never talked or like, oh, I would be, and he was very social media famous, like, I mean, on Facebook. But he would connect with me through the comments and say, like, how do you say, like, symbolic, no, how do you say, he's speaking to me, but in a way,
like,
he didn't want his
yeah,
audience really knowing that it was does that make any sense to you at all?
yeah, like covertly, he was like giving you signs, or like under the
Yes.
cover, like talking to you. Well, with that logic, then we can have many twin flames, or that one twin flame
Oh,
can appear in many people, right?
through anything. Like when you see the numbers, that's the twin flame appearing as is. Because you connect the numbers with twin flame. I mean, everyone always when they see the numbers, like, oh, it's my twin flame. I'm getting close. You hear the name, you see it on billboards, right? You hear music and you feel like it's them coming through the music speaking to you, right? You feel like you're going crazy because you're like, why does this feel this way? Well, it's you, it's your energy, but they call it twin flame,
So do you think it's your
right?
energy trying to wake you up or something?
It's yes, yes, yes. Apparently, they are there to awaken you to self.
Right. So, with that, do you believe everyone has this energy of twin flame, whatever it's called?
You think everyone goes through the twin flame journey?
I'm asking you, do you think everybody has one and everyone goes through it, or what?
Oh gosh, I mean, God, look how huge. There's so many people that are going through it. Oh yes, I mean, I believe there's something to it. I really do.
Do you feel like it's going to get more and more?
Oh yes, I feel like everyone's waking up. Some through twin flame and some through spiritual. But the whole spiritual thing, I feel like they have to go through that to eventually come to the realization that it's all just one big source of energy, and we're waking up from all the programs that we were taught from the time we were born.
So, with that, let's go into your background. Let's go. You said your mother comes from, Cheshire, England. So, like,
Yeah.
were you always like, when I was growing up, they used to call me an old wise man. When I was a very small child, I was very connected to like mythology and magic and all sorts of things, and I could see things and feel things and all sorts of stuff. What was it like for you?
I
And
was very okay, go ahead.
yeah, and then
Sorry.
how did it happen? Let's go through the journey, right? The background, the spirituality, the twin flame, all that stuff.
Okay. Well, as a child, I had no friends because I was very different. I was always, it wasn't that no one wanted to be around me. I was just I just was very different. I had an imaginary friend, I was just really just different. I've always been really kind of different. And I always felt like the black sheep of the family, you know? Um,
What do you mean by very different? So, for me, I feel like I was the highest vibrational kid, if you believe in that stuff. Or change it around. I was the
Yeah.
happiest vibrant kid.
Yeah, I was happy, but I just kind of was into like the unknown. Like I was just really different. I was into like, and as I got a little bit older, I was into the stars, the moon. Like I was just into like, you know, and as time went on, I got into reading tarot cards and just really into I was just really different.
Okay, tarot cards, very popular with twin flames. And I think from your
Yes.
YouTube, you've said stop doing that stuff now. What do you think about that and all that readings?
Well, I feel like if you're on the journey, because I read tarot on the side as a living, but I feel like as far as the twin flame journey goes, um, no, because it's your energy and you're having them read you. Who are they reading? And your twin can actually feel that because they share the same exact energy as you. They can feel that you're seeking out and you're getting readings done on
And do you believe that
something.
pushes them away then?
It pushes them away. It
Yeah,
causes that repel.
which we'll get into. So, okay, so as a young child, you were interested in the mysteries of the world, the universe, and you were more of a
Mhm.
loner, you said. So when did, like, people talk about awake, like, I know people ask me as well, oh, so when did your awakening happen? When you met your twin flame, was that when your awakening happened? I was like, I was awake when I came out of my mom's womb. But how was it for you? Like, your interest in all, because I know from your TikToks and your YouTube, which I recommend everyone on this journey should watch because it's mind blowing. You did everything. You did all the healings. You did all the shamans. All the things. You did everything, and then you were like, I don't need it. So can we talk about what you did?
Oh yes. So you want me to start from the beginning of the journey when I of the twin flame, or just as a kid, I'm of being just.
Yeah, as a kid, up until when you met your twin, and then what happened after?
Well, yes, I've always felt that there was more. Like I always felt that this just isn't it. Like I've always felt there's something more. Like, and I could never put my finger on it. And as time went on and stuff, of course, that the twin flame came along, and I remember meeting. I told you about the he came through another being, and then eventually 2 years went away. Went on, and I forgot about that person, and then that's when I met him, and that's when the awakening happened.
So how
But I
many
knew.
how many
Hmm?
beings did the energy go through? Because I think you said three in one of your videos, or was it two people?
Three.
Three. And then
Three.
some people talk about false twin flames or catalysts or all these kind of. Do you believe in that
Well,
concept?
I don't even know. I feel like that's just story stuff. I really do because I don't think that there's a karmic twin. I don't feel like there's any of that.
So
I
then,
mean, I feel like when you see your twin, you just know it's just
but then
an
why,
energetic
like,
knowing.
why didn't it work out with the first meeting of the first person, and why did it have to go through to a second and then a third? And what are you stuck with the third one now? Is that where you decided to park your car? Like, I don't know.
I'm not stuck with the third one. I'm okay. So the first, well, there wasn't. Okay, so there is no three. It's all just one. It's my energy appearing as is, and my energy is choosing to show up through different. Okay, so the first one was me. It was my energy. I felt it, and then I laid eyes. I knew it right away. And then after 2 years went by, here comes the second. But it's not a second. It was my energy again appearing through another being. But this time it was a little different. When my energy chose to show up this time around, the apparent Kundalini awakening happened, and I didn't know what hit me. That I mean, I went through the apparent dark night of the soul and all that. It was like my energy showed up for a minute there, and then then all of a sudden, the second into being, that's when the awakening really just like hit me
So
full throttle.
I want to get into two things because there's a lot of people who contact myself and they're talking about the confusion and the doubts. Who are
Yeah.
they? Are they the apparent twin flame or not? So I want to know that, and then also I want to know about what was the other energy going through as well? Were they going through stuff at the same time? So you had your Kundalini, apparent Kundalini awakening. Did they have it as well? Because I had it with
So,
my one.
well, yeah, as you're going through the Kundalini awakening, apparently, um, the dark night of soul, you're obsessing, right? You have the obsessive thoughts, you have the fear-based energy that's coming up, right? The abandonment issues and all that. So as you're going through that, they're not thinking of you. They're thinking about everything else but you. They're obsessing over other things because it is you, it's your energy. So they can't live in that because it's your energy. So they're going to obsess over everything else but you. But the moment you turn to self, they turn towards you. They have no choice but to turn towards you. That's when they come in. But the moment you are entertaining those
It's all
obsessive
very
thoughts,
strange, isn't it? It's all very strange. This explanation even about it's your energy and it can't focus on you, but you focus your energy on you. But
they come to
they are you and they are your energy, but because you're focusing on you, that somehow or the other they're not allowed to focus on you. I don't get it.
yeah, because see, you're looking outwards. You're looking at them as being separate,
Right.
and they're not separate from you, so they can't focus on you, right? You're thinking you're focusing on a separate entity, as in a separate being, but there is no separate being. It's your energy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to focus outward because you're focusing outward. You're focusing outside of yourself, thinking that there's a separate person.
So this takes me to like so we still got to answer those three questions: what they were going through, and
Yeah.
also about how people know if they're twin flame. But you know, this whole mirroring, you're mirroring is quite a deep concept actually, because on one hand, when you're looking outward, they're going to do it's like an inverted mirror. So in a mirror, you hold your right hand, but it looks like it's your left hand. But then conversely, mirroring can also be you do the same things at the same time as well. It's yeah.
Well, with mine, he had addictive energy towards like working constantly. When I would focus on him, he would work, 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 date all these other women. That was his obsessiveness. It wasn't over me because I'm focusing on him, right? Thinking that there's a him. There's not a him. It's my energy. So when I'm focusing apparently outside myself, he's focusing too outside of himself, because it is my energy.
So your
But the
first.
moment you turn towards self, it's like they just feel it and they just come towards you because they are you.
So how do you know that it's your energy? So people ask, how do I know it's my twin flame? I'm confused. I'm not. And for me, as soon as I met him, the second I met him, I knew he was the one. The second I looked at, I couldn't look at him. It was like a atomic sun. Like it was so bright. It was nighttime. I was blinded. I couldn't look up. And then as soon as I came close to him, I saw all the past lives. I saw everything. And then I saw the kids, and I saw the future, and we were in each other's heads. We were one person. It was all very, and I saw angelic like light all over. It was very. I knew something was up.
Mhm.
But afterwards, I thought it was because of me, because I've come off this beautiful cruise. I'm very like happy, and I thought I am magic. Any person I see now, I'd be like, damn, done it. But it didn't do. It didn't go like that. And then I had doubts. I did have doubts. I was like, because my one was doing all sorts of madness on social media, which I wouldn't normally do. A lot of nudity, a lot of sexual stuff, a lot of all sorts of things. So I had doubts. But so how did you identify, and how can people out there watching this today know that it's their energy or not energy? What did you find out?
Because like you said, you see yourself. When you look at that person, you see you. Like you literally, like you said, you felt like a past life thing and all. That's a pure indication because you can't even, and you can't even like, you're like, why am I seeing this? It doesn't, And with me, the moment I looked into his eyes, I just felt that recognition right away. And I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm like, why do I feel like I've known this person? Well, it was my energy, but I didn't know that.
For me, it was very trippy. Like he was talking, and I felt like I was talking to myself. I felt like I was in an echo chamber. I was like, why is he saying the same things I would say? Because I was in Rome. He's in Rome, and I was talking about Rome and saying that it's a bit filthy and whatever. And then he was saying positive things back to me, but with a different, like not with the spiritual lingo, but just like a logical. And I'm like, it felt like it's me and another person.
Yes, right? That's it.
but
That's it.
but I feel like it's my alter ego as well, because my one's like really into, well, was into this whole, in influencing on photography and underwear, and showing off nudity and stuff, which I dare not do.
Yeah, they're more like, because they're not conscious to the journey at all. Like they don't even know what's going on because we're the ones that are waking up. So they're doing all that stuff. Like mine was an alcoholic and all that. Like, and he was just, and I'm over here, awake and spiritual and all this other stuff, and he wasn't.
So
He watches my YouTube channel.
what do they go through then?
They go through, basically anything. Doesn't matter. They just live an ordinary life.
No, after they meet us, like after we're going through all this stuff, what's going on for them? Are they feeling
They know that energetically something's up when they meet us. They can feel it energetically, but they can't put their finger on it neither. So they don't. They just think like maybe it's a soulmate or something like that. They don't connect to the twin flame story. They don't know nothing about. They may say it like, yeah, twin flame, but they don't really get it.
Do they care?
Right?
Do they even care about? Do they care about the story?
No, not give a care at all. They really don't. Now, mine thinks it's interesting, but he doesn't really care. Like, he's like, oh, it's interesting.
Which I find really remarkable, because the thing is, here we are trying to put a label on it, and then we go past the labels to realize it's just is energy. There's no need to put anything on it, and they're doing that from the get-go. From the beginning, they're like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, it seems like they're more awake than us.
They are. They're just living their ordinary life, and they're standing in. They're more authentic, actually, which is something that we fear of being sometimes, is authentically who we are. We fear it. They don't care.
I do agree in some respects, because being gay and coming from an Indian background, some of the stuff, my one's a white Italian, okay, and for him, perhaps he's got more freedoms to be able to express however he wants, because maybe the culture is a lot more encompassing and less likely to, threaten you or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, maybe they have more freedom. So after we meet them, do they just continue this regular life, or do they actually go through stuff as well?
Well, when we kind of start to pull towards self, they can't help but to want to be around us. We become their obsession.
Do they realize why, or because
they don't know why? They're just energetically pulled, and they don't understand it. But they have to be with you.
That can take a long time, right?
Well, the moment you focus on self, they come near you. That's it. The moment you start to really, literally, like, get rid of that fear-based energy, right? Don't entertain the obsessive thoughts. And there's tools for that. There is tools to kind of tone it down.
What are those tools? Because it's easy said than done. Because I know I could not stop thinking about this person.
Right. Yes.
It gets to another level of insanity.
Oh gosh, it could be when people talk about committing suicide and all. It's terrible.
I mean, I have thought about. I got to a stage where those thoughts were also coming in my mind, because I just couldn't stop thinking about this person, and this person was doing all sorts of crazy stuff, madness on the internet, and it was getting worse. Like it got worse. Like my one created his Twitter account literally 2 months before he met me. Before that, he wasn't doing as much, but it just got more and more. And then I started doing loads of inner work to stop him from doing that. And then I started doing my purpose work to stop it. And it all became tit for tat and competition and jealousy. And then I thought, no, let it go. And that's when the transformation happened. But tell me,
So the inner work, when you say inner work, like what type of inner work were you doing? Were you trying to do healing work? Is that it?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of I still do, actually, a lot of self-love, just working with the inner child, just doing a lot of self-love and being in the present and just enjoying myself.
Okay, because I know a lot of people that feel like they have to heal. That can also create a pullback energy, because you're doing it to get them back. And they can feel that energetically. But when you are literally just turning to self, just really just turning towards self and not even trying to, get away from the obsessive thoughts, that's when they start to come in. But if you're doing it for them, they pull back.
Do you think it naturally happens when you get to a stage where you just like give up on focusing on them and you bring it back? Because you hear some twin flames who are on this journey for 20, 30 years and they're still in the loop in the loop.
Yeah. Yep. I feel like, well, with me, I came across someone, I was watching someone, and she would do the mantras, right? And she would chant them. And she goes, that just kind of makes you, in the Zen, whatever, and I tried it. And I just, every time I would do it, the more I would feel better. And I just kept doing it. And eventually, I don't know what happened, but the obsessive thoughts were going.
Do you think it was
I
just
really,
a distraction, a distraction tool? Do you think it is? That's what worked? Is that what it is?
Well, you can't be in the mind and say a mantra at the same time. So while you're chanting, that mind stuff goes. It doesn't go, but it fades out in the background. You're chanting, and I would do it while I was cleaning the house. I would just chant all day, say my mantras all day, just saying them, just to say it.
So,
and eventually, it just shifted.
And do you
the energy?
Because I know from one of your videos, you don't do it no more, do you? You don't do your mantras no more, or you do?
I don't have any mind. The mind's there. Okay, so the thoughts are there, but I don't. They faded out. Like I know that they're there, but I don't know. It's just not a thing anymore.
So do you recommend?
It's not like.
Is that what you? Oh. Is that your recommendation? Your tips and tricks, like just do mantras?
Mantras, and then of course, there's also Eckhart Tolle. I did read his book, and I also watched him on YouTube a lot.
The Power of Now.
And then, The Power of Now. And eventually, I came into the non-dual, and non-duality is what, boom, woke me up completely. And that's when everything just kind of flatlined. It just flatlined, and now I can't even reach. I can't seek. I don't even know what that is anymore.
So I want to talk about non-duality in a second. I still want to finish off. We've done the tips and tricks. I want to get into healing or not healing. But before that, I want to finish off your twin flame story. So we got to it. Your energy showed up in one individual. And then what happened with that individual?
So the second one?
Let's finish with the first one.
I will say, okay, so the first one, nothing. I mean, he's probably still around. I don't know where he is, but it just, once I was dealing with him, the energy arose through somebody else. And that was when I was triggered completely. It was like that awakening, the Kundalini apparent awakening happened, the dark night of the soul and all of that.
Because with the first one, did you pull your energy back to yourself? Then if with that logic, he should have come running, right? Back to you.
Well, I didn't know what was going on. I just recognized my energy. So when I recognized my energy, I became obsessed with him. And I was constantly feeling like I had to go on the internet and watch him and listen to because he was a motivational speaker, and listen to his motivation stuff, right? And then eventually I just was like, God, this cannot be healthy, what I'm doing. Because it would be a back and forth thing with me and him constantly. And I don't know, I just kind of started to pull back, and I started to focus more on myself. And that's when the other one came in.
So that can happen. It's not necessary that the first one, like if you meet your energy, that they will be pulled in. It might come through another
way. And I was like at an awe, because this guy was like everything I've ever wanted in a partner. And it was, I'll never forget, the first time we met, I met him online. I met him through a dating thing, service. And he lived a block away from me.
Wow. Okay.
And we met at a local bar. And when I walked in, he was the only person in the room, and the workers, that was it. And I felt, even though I've been to that bar before, I felt like I've been there with him before. It was weird, because it was my energy. So of course I'm going to feel that. So he gets up, walks towards me, and he grabs my hands, and he looks at my hands like I've just been born. It was the weirdest thing. And then he looked at me up and down, and he pulled the stool out, and he goes, "Have a seat." He goes, "You are absolutely gorgeous," right? So I sat down with them, and we talked all night. I don't even remember what we talked about because it was like no one else was in the room. It was just me and him talking. No workers, no nothing, just me and him. And then at the end of the night, he told me, he said, "Shannon, would you walk with me to my car?" And I felt like, God, I don't know you. But then I heard something. It said, "Go ahead. This is the one." Well, I didn't know when it said this is the one that I was going to go through what I went through, right? But anyways, he had his hand out and I grabbed it and I walked with them out the door, and it was a rainy day. It was pouring down. No, it was sunny. It was a beautiful sunny day. The moment we walked out those doors, the rain just started pouring down on us so fast. It was like a movie. I said, "Oh my gosh." And he said, "Wait here." Because all day he was asking me what my favorite colors were, and I couldn't understand it. But he was like, "Wait here." And he runs to his car, goes to the passenger side, pulls out a dozen roses with all my favorite colors. And he stands in the middle of the rain and he goes, "Here, these are for you." And I was like, "Oh my God." He didn't have to do that.
I thought you were going to say he went and ran in and got an umbrella from his car. That was my favorite color.
No, no, roses. And he was like, "Here, these are for you." And I was like, "Ben, you didn't have to," I said his name, but "you didn't have to do that." And he goes, "No, these are yours." And he pulls me into the rain like a movie, puts his hand behind my neck, pulls me in and starts kissing me.
Okay.
And I felt electricity come from my toes all the way on up. I never felt anything like that. Well, of course, it was my energy. I was feeling it was my, me. So he told me, he said, "Sweetie," he goes, "you give me goosebumps all over my body." He goes, "Can I see you again?" And then after that, it was all she wrote. He was always with me. Always. He was not coming, showing up at my house unannounced. I mean, he just had to be with me.
How long was that?
3 months.
And then?
3 months.
And then what
And
happened?
one day he showed up. Knocked on my door, and he looked really stressed out. And he had his hat on, and he took it off, and he was like doing this, rubbing his head. And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Oh my God, I want to tell you something, but I don't want you thinking I'm crazy." I was like, "Tell me," And he goes, "I feel like I've known you before." He goes, "And I don't know where." He goes, "I can't put my finger on it, but I've known you before." And I knew what he was talking about because that's what I felt with the first guy. But I didn't feel that with him yet. And he was like, I just don't know what it is about you." Well, right after he said that to me, days after that is when what was happening is the energy was recognizing itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know it. He didn't know it, but the energy was recognizing itself, and that's when things changed.
Then
all of a sudden,
he
started
bolted.
pulling.
Yeah.
Huh?
Then he bolted. He ran.
He started pulling because I was treating it like a regular relationship. I was looking at him as being separate from me. Well, he couldn't live in that no more. He couldn't live in that energy because the energy recognized itself. So it started to pull.
It's like a magnet, isn't it?
Yes. And he didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. He even told me, he said, "Shannon, I need time. And I don't know why I'm saying this to you."
So they
said,
don't realize why they run.
Yes. They don't understand it, but they have to go. They can be really in love with you, but they have to go. The energy just pulls them back. And he did. He left.
And then what happened? Because then you met another one, right? Or
later on, after I woke up completely from the journey, here it comes.
What does that mean, waking up completely?
I woke up from the whole twin flame story. I woke up from everything, all the programming that we were, just everything. I literally woke up after watching a lot of his name is Kenneth Madden. He's the one. He's the one that woke me up completely. And I'll never forget it because I remember walking outside and nothing was familiar to me anymore. Everything just nothing was familiar. Everything that I was taught and told was real. Just was gone. Yeah. But that's a whole another.
So between your second energy and the third energy, did you go through a healing story, journey, or not healing? Like,
I tried. I did. I went and seen a shaman. I did all the what do you call it, Reiki healing and all that. It didn't work. None of that stuff worked. Because what are you healing? There's nothing to heal. It's just that you need to focus on yourself. That's all you got to do. Turn towards self. Turn towards self. That's all you have to do. That's the trick.
I wrote this on a Facebook group the other day, and they were like, "You are." Some people like ripped into me. I said, "Because you don't need any healing."
Oh yeah.
And they're like, "Yes, but we've been through trauma. You're gaslighting, or this and that, and whatever." And but what do you think about sometimes you need to go through the journey to realize you didn't need the healing in the first place? Do you agree with
Yes.
that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You do. You have to go through it all to
But
actually
then,
see.
but then it's like, did going through it help you realize that? And if you hadn't gone through it, would you have realized it anyway?
Okay, so when I was going through the healing, and I was just realizing, like, God, this isn't it. Nothing's happening. I'm thinking it's happening, but nothing's happening. So I'm like,
What do you
there's
mean?
something wrong with
Meaning that
this.
he's not come back.
Yes. I was like, I moved on. And I did towards the end. I started to just move on. And I was like, I've done all the healing. And but still, I was still seeking. I was still wanting to know. I was still trying to get there. And there's nowhere to get to.
And your obsessiveness stopped then, or?
Um, Through the mantras, started to stop. Yes.
Okay.
Through the mantras, and then when I started to when I went to non-duality is when it completely just flatlined. It was done. There was nothing to seek out.
I read a really good post on Quora, and I mean, some of them are great and some of them are not so much, but generally, and it talked about you get to a stage of total letting go or surrender or whatever you want to call it, where you realize, and they call it 5D, okay, where that you are whole anyway, and it's your energy.
Yeah.
So how from that, when you realize this stuff isn't working, what is non-duality? Can you explain it? Why is it called non-duality? Why is it not called oneness? Um, and why should we all be like looking it up and like Kenneth Madden and stuff like that? What is non-duality?
Well, this is all duality right here. And to me, the duality is it's just stuff that we were taught. We were taught that that's your mom, that's your dad. The minute we're born, we're taught that's your mom, that's your dad, that's your sister, that's a tree, that's a bird, that's the sky, that's the sun, right? So we're programmed to believe all this is true, and it's unknown. Really, we don't know what any of this stuff is. It's just stuff that we were taught. But we get so programmed to believe in all of this stuff, and the relationships that you need to be with someone in order to be happy. I mean, the list goes on. Like all the stories, all the stories.
And the stories, I liken it to, say for example, someone met God and then they came back, God,
Right.
and then you say, tell me what God's like, and they can only say it from their mind, right, from their ego or whatever it is. Or if someone goes on the best roller coaster in the world, like new roller coaster is the best in the world, and you tell them, tell me what it was like, they can only give it through the filters that they've got in their brain, right? So that's where the programming or the stories come through, and it will be perceptions. Like one person might have gone on the roller coaster and hated it and vomited or never want to go on it, and one once went on it 20 times and want to go on it again. So again, it's all perspective, perception, and it's to experience all that is and funnel it through a human physical vessel through this 3D experience and this separation consciousness, which is duality. That's what. But then there's also people who say then you're kind of ignoring the fact that this is the reality right now as is.
Oh, well, that's the thing about realization. You realize that everything is the story, and all there is the story. And you can't, if you can't join them, if you can't beat them, join them. You accept it though. You accept the fact that this is the story, but there's this realization that it's the story. But you're okay with that. But you do know. See, a lot of them are so programmed that they're really in it. They're really in the story, and they're believing all the stories.
It becomes a religion.
Where with me, it's like I don't. There's not a belief anymore. I don't have beliefs because I know it's all just the story. But I'm in it though. I'm in it, flowing along. Like an eye floaty.
I was thinking about this interview as well the other day. So I've trained in many things, but one of the things I'm trained in is neurolinguistic programming, which is like what Tony Robbins does. And as part of coaching, there's something called the Claire Graves sort of like levels that where society operates. And you've got tribal and then religious, and then most of society apparently is in level 4. These are all just stories again. which is all about
Yeah.
control and right and wrong and black and white, etc. And then level 5 is more entrepreneurial. But when you get to level 7, it is just as it is. It's very functional, and it is, you can operate between all the levels, but you just see them for what they are, which is stories. And
Stories.
that made sense to me. So you started researching this, and then you started, that helped you to detach from every story. And like, did you know
Yeah,
about,
I'm
by
not
that
attached to any
stage,
stories.
did you know about twin flames by now?
Um, well, I woke up from the journey of twin flames when after non-duality awakening, yeah. I woke up from it all. I realized it was just a story.
So stories can be also likened to labels, right? The twin flame
Yes.
label, the divine
Mhm.
masculine, divine feminine, 3D, 5D, this D, that D, whatever it is.
Yes.
What is your thinking about all that now?
Well, because nothing's separate, because there really aren't no labels, right? That's just the story. Labels are just the story. It's just an idea, apparently. But once I woke up, I realized that there was no such thing as separation. There's not the separation is another thing we were taught because we label everything, and that creates separation.
Don't you find it ridiculous? Like when I realized that in October, I was laughing. The whole joke. The joke is on us. That's how.
Yes, it is. It really is. And I used to really I remember when I first woke up from the story, it was very uncomfortable for me because I realized it was all just a story. And when I would talk to other people and they would be just, all I would hear was chitter chatter, and I just didn't it was just I couldn't resonate with it anymore. I was like, "Oh my god, this is just story stuff." Like that's all I heard was blah 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 blah. That's all that I could hear, and it was just stories after stories after stories, and it was so uncomfortable for me.
Isn't it interesting, because the twin flame community will talk about how the divine masculine is, I'll do quotation marks, is stuck in the matrix, is stuck in the story, is stuck in the what's being told, and we are separate from that, we are beyond that because we're spiritual, but we're 5D and this D and that D. And again, it's the matrix again. And when you go beyond this, when you're kind of almost like the observer, which is like how Buddha described, enlightenment. Do you feel like you're enlightened now? Do you feel enlightened?
I'm just being, I guess. I to me, enlightenment's still the story,
Yeah.
so I can't resonate with it anymore. I
Is
used to think I was enlightened when I was spiritual,
so
but I'm not spiritual anymore. I'm not religious. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what anything. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but I don't know what anything is anymore.
so
It's all just story stuff.
are you at a place of total detachment then?
Yes, I'm just being. I'm just going along for the ride, and
And then
but I can't live my life as a non-dual. Like I can't be like, well, that's just a story, and that's just a story. No, I'm in it. I'm in the story, and now I'm just living my life and speaking about twin flames, and I understand it's all the story, but I know there are so many people out there that need to hear you, me, and others that need help.
but I guess the
You know,
story can be now used as tools, right? Once you are
tools.
outside of the construct, now you can go in the construct, but use it when you need it and then let it go and not be
Yes.
attached to it.
Yes,
If
I can't even attach to anything. Like I don't even remember what happened the next day. Like there's no more attachments. That's all fell off.
it's
And
almost
with me,
like
it's like when I talk, it's like what's happening right now. Like I can't reach anymore.
you have it serve you now rather than you serving it,
Yes,
right? So then you met your third
I did.
apparent
And he's
twin.
from England, actually.
Okay, so what went with that? What's going on with that? If you want to disclose.
So once the non-dual awakening happened, I felt this freeness. I felt this liberation. Right. I was just at this nirvana feeling like it was everything was just gone.
Yeah.
And then here comes another being out of nowhere, and it was funny. We were doing a TikTok duet. I saw him, and but I didn't really look at him. But one of my friends did a duet with like, oh, I was like, I really love that song. So I decided to do a duet with him, right? Well, once I did the duet and I looked back at the video, I looked at him. And the moment I looked at his eyes, it happened again. with the first guy, like the first guy. I went, oh God, not again.
Not again.
Like, what is this, right? Right? And I literally, it was like, I knew him. It was like, it was the same exact thing. And I thought, oh, it's just energy. It's just my energy appearing as is. There's this acceptance there now. There wasn't no big deal behind it. It was just a tool to show me, like,
So
you're
do
here
you think
now.
you
You've
got to
made it.
you got to a place where they talk about a 0 point, peace, grounded, like very chilled about it all?
Yes. But he became obsessed with me because I was already like not caring. So, and this guy is apparently famous too on TikTok. I'm not going to say his name, but he's famous.
He's also very,
And-
very, very, very handsome.
Huh?
I think I've seen the video that you're talking about. He's very handsome.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
I don't know. I thought I put it down. Did I take it down? I don't remember. But he started gravitating towards me. It was like, you know, because I felt he recognized me right away. I felt the recognition with him. Like, he recognized me.
And then what?
After that, the second one came back.
Oh God. Okay.
So it was like he came, and then shortly after that, the second one came, and now that's what I'm dealing with right now. And it's total bliss. We're fine. We're very neutral.
But how does that make sense then? In the sense of it's your energy and it transferred from the first one to the second one, then the third one, but now it's both of them. So the energy.
No, it's not both. I don't deal with the other one now. It's just that one
the
now.
Second one.
He came through for that moment. It was almost like energetically it showed up to show me, like,
okay,
you're here.
It's almost like a sign or synchronicity or whatever to bring you back to the second one, you could say. In the story version of things. Okay, I get you. It was a reminder. Like when you sometimes go.
Wasn't that kind of weird? Like the beginning one showed up, and then he showed up, and then here I am, feeling the way I am, and then that one showed up just to show me, like, okay, you made, and then here he comes again. He's back again, the second one.
And then nothing really happened with the third one apart from the recognition. So the second one, second one is the one that you've had the whole Kundalini and got you to non-duality. So that makes sense in that way if you follow the story of twin flames. Because oftentimes when you start letting go of your twin flame, then you see the signs, synchronicities. You see them in other people. Yes. That's what you're saying, right? Your energy in others. Yeah. Okay. Good. So we've gone through quite a lot, and then I want to talk about. Triggers and support and how to navigate through all of this stuff. What would you recommend people watching today? Because we mentioned some people do commit suicide. Let's not be, they do, because it's horrific. The journey is horrific. It's not easy. I actually personally still do not wish this journey even on my enemies. I actually don't. Even though I've now come to a stage where I feel happy and positive all the time, feel good, grounded, still don't recommend it.
No, and it's the obsessive thinking. It's the obsessive thinking, the fear, the abandonment issues. It's just so much, and it comes to a point where you just want it to stop. You don't even care if the twin flame. You just want the obsessive thoughts to just stop, to just go away, and it won't, because it's your energy.
Because before I met my twin flame, I told him the first time I met him, I said, 95% of the time I am happy. I'm like one of those rare people in the world that is generally always happy. Not after I met you. After I met you, I was not happy for a year. But what tips and tricks, what support? I know you have your own support group and people can contact you, and I'll put the email address, which is hyacinth@hotmail.com. But what should people do when they're going through this stuff?
Get out of the story, number one. Detox out of the story completely. And when I say detox from the story, stop looking them up on social media. If you follow them, put all their stuff away that they've ever bought you. Like, get rid of it. Detox completely. And then with the obsessive thoughts, turn to self. Say a mantra, meditate if you have to, go walk in nature, whatever it is that helps you. Me, none of that helped me but the mantras. Meditation didn't do nothing for me. It just wasn't my thing. Walking in nature, it was wonderful, but didn't help me. Mantras are my go-to.
So it's about pulling your energy back, right?
Yes. Taking the focus off of something that you think is outside of you, but apparently it's not. It's your energy.
Should you tell your energy that you're the story of twin flames? Should you be? Is that useful? I have done so.
Well, because that's a pull. I did too. It's a pull energy. They will pull back because you're looking at them as being separate by saying you're my twin flame. That's separate. They can't live in that energy of
So, are
separation.
you currently what they call a parent union or reunion or whatever it's called? Are you that with
Apparently.
your twin flame?
Yeah, we're just being though. Like, it's funny with me and him because there's all different types of stories out there. Not every story is the same. With me and mine, sometimes he'll appear physically around me and it will stay consistent. And then sometimes he appears through the signs. I'll see signs of him everywhere, but it's just my energy. It's all him. It's all just one.
Okay.
And it's very neutral. It's very consistent, and it's just, there's no fear there. There's
And
no
it's
attachments to him leaving. Blah blah blah.
and I want to ask this because people ask all sorts. Like, it's a romantic, loving like interaction, or is it just friendship? Or these are
Oh,
questions that
it's all of
yeah.
it. It's all of it. There's no attachments though. I can do all that stuff, but I don't attach. There's no fear there anymore.
Is
That
it
fear is gone.
is it freedom though? Do you feel freedom in the
Oh, it's so freeing.
yeah?
It is freeing once you don't have the obsessive thoughts and the fear-based energy that comes up. And I'm telling you, through the mantras, that's what got rid of all of that. It kind of just went down.
But
It
also
broke
this
down.
whole sort of programming of what a relationship should be. You
Exactly.
you broke free from that.
Yes. And energetically, that's what keeps them around. When you don't have that fear-based energy anymore, they can't detect anything in the energy field.
So the information out there. There's a lot of story information about twin flames and divine masculine and this and that, and there's a lot of conflicting stuff on TikTok, on YouTube. There's people out there who say they're just a catalyst. You can never be with them, even they're not meant to be romantic. There's so much nonsense out there, but I don't know. Whatever you prescribe to, I'm not going to say it's nonsense. If you believe that, it will be true for you, I believe. But
Yes.
what do you think about all the, because there's even documentaries made about it that's kind of
Oh,
defacing twin flames and all sorts. So what do you think about, like, what should people what should you believe in, what should you manifest if that's something that happens? Should
yeah, you so it's energetic. So if you're feeling that way, that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see all of that. They're gonna mirror that back to you.
So if you give up on yourself, essentially, then
Mhm.
that's what you'll see, right?
Yeah. You'll see more of a separation, but separation is an illusion. They're never separate from you, but because you're in the mind, you can't see it. Because you're so in the mind, all you're seeing is separation. So that's all you know, it's gonna show you. The energy is just gonna show you that.
So you mentioned that you like talking about, you know, the story of twin flames,
Mhm.
but people talk about chasing energy, and like people say doing tarot readings, psychic readings, looking at their
Yeah.
social media. I mean, you mentioned that, like, total detox. For me, I kind of did the opposite because I worked with a coach, and she said I'd rather you watch and got triggered and got over it rather than hide under a rock and then you looked at then you. And I've had friends who are twin flames who avoid at all costs, but then their person shows up, their energy, and then they freak out because they haven't faced the shadow, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Does that make sense? What do you
Well, they're
think?
still holding on to that fear of abandonment. The twins showing up, but at the same time, they're thinking, "Oh my God, they're gonna leave me again." Is that that goes away once you turn to self, keep turning to self. All that fear goes away. That will no longer. You won't be curious to wonder like, are they gonna leave me again? What's gonna happen? Are they gonna will I ever see them again? Or is they're gonna come by? Are they gonna call me? Blah 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 blah. All that stuff goes. You
Isn't
don't have it anymore. It will just leave.
isn't it interesting that the parent twin flame brings all this out? But I believe that stuff exists even with other individuals that you've dated or been with, but it's not brought to the forefront codependency,
Yeah.
jealousy, obligation, neediness. It was all there. Abandonment issues, ego,
Yes.
all was there. And it is, I believe it's truly freeing then after you just liberate yourself from this nonsense.
Well, yeah, and you notice like the twin flame amplifies it more for some reason. They amplify the abandonment issues.
Yeah.
They trigger it more. Where it was triggered when we were dating other people, because I was very possessive at one time with men, and God, it was awful. But you know, with the twin flame though, it really brings it out. All this stuff that you didn't know was there, it's just really just coming more out to the surface and stuff. But I feel like it's meant to come out.
And then you have like people on the other extreme of the perspective of the spectrum that say, you know, totally don't even think about them, do not even mention them, because
Oh
we're talking about twin flames right now, and like even mentioning the word, the phrase twin flame is chasing energy. What do you think about that?
no, it's only chasing energy if you're attached to it. Yeah, if you're attached to what you're talking about and all that, and even if you're watching twin flames about twin flames, if you're doing it because you are trying to find ways to get your twin flame back, okay, that's push energy. But if you're just watching it to watch it because you're gravitated to it and it's interesting and you just want to know, that's okay.
Because you can't
There's no
get
attachments there.
because you can't get back what you already have.
Yes,
It's like it's almost
exactly.
like I've got my left arm here and I'm trying to get my left arm outside, but I already got my left arm, so why am I going out?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right. I think I've got through all my questions that I had. Is there
Okay.
anything else? Because I would like to talk to you in the future, because I think you have so much wisdom, which a lot of people don't talk about, and I want your platform to grow. And anyway, is there anything else that you want to conclude with? Anything that you think people should know about? For non-duality, you mentioned Kenneth Madden.
Yes. I mean, you know what? He was my go-to, but there are so many other non-duality speakers. But because he woke me up, does apparently, but it's because that happened doesn't mean that others won't.
But
There's so many of them out
does
there.
he specifically talk about twin flames, or is that only you?
They don't talk
That's
about
you,
twin
right?
flames because
So
it's the story.
I would recommend that people watch your TikTok and your YouTube, because I've binged through all of your TikToks and your YouTube. I've done most of it, but not all of it, and it's eye opening. Certainly is.
Wow.
And do you
Oh my
provide?
God, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see my beginning of my awakening of the non-dual because I'm like spaced out. I'm just like, it's crazy. It's really like, yeah.
So do you provide like one-to-one sessions or group sessions and things like that? Zoom stuff. What do you do?
All of it. I would love at one, to eventually have a Zoom where there's just so many and I can just answer their questions. But I do just do one-on-ones right now because there's so many people that have so many questions that they ask, and I can't really get to all of them. So I would love to just have them on one platform and just answer whoever you
I
know.
mean,
That's what I'm trying to
I
get
am
to.
thinking of doing group-based sessions,
Yeah,
and perhaps
yeah,
in those I could invite guest speakers and
yes,
things like that. So that's something to think about, because I do a lot of one-to-ones, but I personally I charge a lot of money, I think, and some people don't have always the funds for that. I charge
yes,
because I have invested a lot in myself and I believe it's fair.
yes,
But if you do group sessions, you can charge very little actually, so that people can all benefit and they can ask it. Because sometimes people just want to ask questions and understand things. So maybe we can work together in the future, very near
yes.
future.
I do with the two other ladies, and you probably seen them on my
Yes,
thing on
yes.
my, and they went through the whole thing, and they went through a non-dual awakening too as well. And I would love for you to meet them. And maybe we could all kind of really just get together because I think you're already getting there. You're already there, I think, almost. And I feel like we could all like just talk and
Yes.
do a Zoom. I think it would be fun, whenever you feel comfortable. But I feel like, I think it'd be cool.
It's really interesting because as soon as I kind of realized things, your TikTok just showed up. And before that, it was all the
Wow.
tarots and all the other nonsense. and I also cancelled my coach because I was
Good for
like,
you.
I said to her, I feel good. I don't feel
Right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, really, I just went on there on a limb, and I'm just doing it. I did it just to do it, and then the other ladies too. They do it as well, and they have their own little platforms and stuff. But we found each other through that.
So I really appreciate your time today, and
Yes.
more conversations to follow. So
Yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been enlightening and interesting, and I think this is the next step on the journey for if you really want to be in the now and happy and understand the energy components of what we're going through. Actually,
Exactly. Exactly.
okay.
It was nice. I love the conversation. Good conversation.
Thank you very
Till next
much.
time.
Take care.